Chapter 14. Clara sipped from her drink and did her best not to wince at the sour taste of it. After Cynthia, Wyatt, and the Royal Marines departed, she moved to a private booth that Uriel Hoax reserved to wait for her strike team's return. Said man was sitting across her, generously drinking a bottle of beer. The princess had gotten the message from Cynthia minutes ago that the mission had gone smoothly despite Wyatt's intervention. She had yet to inform Uriel about it, but she was sure he already knew about the connection that had been established to Woodshaft's channels. Around them stood the remaining 10 Royal Marines, silently and dutifully watching over her safety. "I'm surprised no one has attempted to kill me," Clara said, putting the sorry excuse of tea she had been drinking. Mass-produced, cheap, poorly prepared, and bland products were definitely not her favorite treats, and she regretted not bringing some of her sweets with her. "No one would be so stupid to try unless pressed," Uriel replied before taking another large drink from his beer, finishing it and setting a 6th empty glass bottle on the table. Reaching for another, he popped it open and took a swig before continuing. "Or, if they were so incredibly out of their goddamn minds as to think that to be a good idea. Relax, princess. My home is yours." Clara politely set aside her half-finished tea and smiled at the long black-haired man. "I was wondering when you were going to mention it. It is impolite to keep a lady waiting, you know." Uriel chuckled deeply. "And it is equally impolite to keep secrets from your hosts, little princess. Or should I say mistress?" Clara giggled. "Please, our agreement is hardly one of servitude. We both gain what we need, don't we?" "Sure do," Uriel replied, drinking some more beer. "Now then, princess, are you going to sign the paper and give me the decree, or are you only stringing me along? Them boys can take me and my forces out before we even blink. I deal in fairness and equal opportunities, Uriel. I seek not your demise, though replacing you would be an easy feat, as I mentioned before. It is true that I hold the advantage in this proposal. Is it not enough proof that I wish for a peaceful resolution?" Clara asked sincerely. "Got me there, princess. So I only get what I want when you get what you want and your lapdogs are returned to you?" "Indeed," Clara replied. "Though please try not to insult my friends again. One is precious to me and the other is someone I've found a delightful time getting to know," she said, eyeing the model of the ancient fighter sitting next to her peacefully. "Sorry, princess. Old habits and all that. Though I gotta say, the two of them, scary friends you keep around," he said with a chuckle. Now that got her attention. She agreed with his observation regarding Cynthia. She was, after all, her bodyguard, her best and closest friend, and a killing machine if need be. But Wyatt? "Oh, what makes you think that, my dear Uriel? Please, the red-armored one, the Winfield? Do I really have to say more than the obvious?" he replied with a dry chuckle. She alone was enough for me to clench my pucker so tightly I could have gone for an EVA walk and be fine. Uriel paused and drank some more. When he was done, he hummed deeply. "The other one? Well, he knows his shit, that's for damn sure." Clara leaned forth slightly. "Elaborate? What do you see in him?" "Can't put my finger on it. But when you're as savvy around my line of business, you get to know the bad ones from the good ones, the dangerous ones, and the easily dealt with, those you can trust and those that you need to avoid. In my line of business, knowing that is far more important than being good with a gun or barking orders. And he scares me," Uriel confessed. "There's a cold indifference around him that I couldn't shake off. I couldn't read him. Can see why you'd keep that one for yourself, princess." "I'm sure that your mind is playing tricks on you, Uriel. My companion is friendly and to the point. I wouldn't say that he is harmless, but he is someone I've come to rely on and trust in a short span of time," Clara replied, confused as to why Uriel would see that in Wyatt. Princess, let me ask you something. Have you ever peered into the eyes of a killer? And I mean not a soldier who has done their duty, but a cold-blooded, ruthless killer?" Uriel asked, setting his bottle aside. "I can't say that I possess such experience, Uriel. I've dealt with cheats, backstabbers, liars, politicians, and corrupt people who wouldn't bat an eye at the prospect of the demise of other people as long as they gain something out of it. But a true killer? Never," Clara replied, intrigued to know more about Uriel's viewpoint. "I have, and one thing I've learned from those types is that you need to be careful around them. They ain't murderers or bloodthirsty lunatics. You can tell just by looking at 'em. And that guy you brought? I think he's a damn dangerous tool you got there, Princess. Make sure to use him right or dispose of him quickly, 'cause they are the sort of people you do not want to fuck over." "Preposterous," Clara said with an indignified huff. "It is true that we met not too long ago, but what I have seen of him so far, his dedication, his skills, his talent, and his personality all indicate that he is trustworthy. He is no killer. He is a true knight of old. Then heed my advice and keep his leash. I mean keep him close. Perhaps it is as you say, Princess, but take it from someone who has dealt with the careful line between respectable crime and reprehensible criminality." His eyes narrowed. "He is dangerous." "How much?" "I can't say, but he is dangerous." Memories of witnessing Wyatt's performance during the competition and his exploits during the battle came to mind. She wasn't naive enough to believe Wyatt was harmless. Far from it. He was a deadly pilot, with skill and a mind to match. Clara gave Uriel a small, friendly smile before replying, "In that case, I shall take your advice for what it is and keep it under consideration." Uriel shrugged. "What you do with it ain't of my business. I just thought I should give you some friendly advice. Back to business it is. The station is mine now. Do not worry. I have enough tuggers to help move that thing here. It'll take weeks, but we can fend off any Caiston forces they send our way. The Third Fleet's movements have been doing odd movements according to the information we get." "Such as?" Clara asked, already knowing the Third Fleet had sided with her uncle, but it was a good opportunity to hear the rumors of the common people. "Broken patrols, ships demanding civilian vessels to give them supplies, blockades in several systems, and loads of runaway Navy men," Uriel replied with casual ease. "People are whispering that the Third Fleet is fighting each other between traitors and loyalists, but I ain't no fool. The Third Fleet and that pain-in-the-ass Cornelius Tigan must have sided with Duke Draymore and all of his lapdogs." "An interesting viewpoint and not one far-fetched," Clara replied. "Do you believe the Third Fleet to be traitors? The dead man's fleet? Oh, to be sure. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. Most of the people in it are incompetent, cowards, or so far removed from the politics of their houses that any fight in them will be gone with 1 or 2 defeats. The commoners will be no better. I foresee many deserters and turncoats. Maybe we'll see new gangs and pirate groups spawn from those. Small fish in a big ocean, nothing we can't handle." He took his bottle and drank from it again. "The Third Fleet is going to be busy dealing with that, possible loyalists to the prince in their midst, and quelling unrest all over their designated area. They ain't going to have time to focus their eyes on Woodshaft anytime soon. The Rightful Path and the Caiston ships here on Gin Tracks were probably their best bet at taking us to their side," Uriel said, crossing his arms. "Now, thanks to you, Princess, they won't be able to bend our arms us anymore, unless, this whole thing explodes and we end up having another civil war. My brother, the prince, is doing everything within his power to prevent such an outcome. Trust me, Uriel, that is something no one wishes to see happen," she said with utmost sincerity. Inside, her heart ached at the prospect of such a terrible thing happening, and anger mixed itself with anguish directed at her treasonous uncle. Uriel hummed deeply. "I figured out that you're heading to Finnegan territory to consolidate, and from there stage your counter-assault against Duke Draymore. That's all well and good, and I'll be sure to show my appreciation after our deal is struck, Princess. I'll keep an eye out for any Caiston movements as further proof of our budding, mutually convenient partnership." "Such efforts shall be appreciated, my dear Uriel," she replied. The black-haired man nodded, finishing his 7th bottle. "If I may ask, Princess, do you know anything at all regarding those black ships? I ain't never seen anything like that before in my entire career, and I've seen a lot. They sure quake the confidence people may have in the prince." "They are a threat, indeed, but not invincible. I know not how Duke Draymore managed to acquire such ships, but it matters not. He shall be defeated in due time," she replied softly. Suddenly, Uriel stood up before the frantic chaos of people running about, and the faint sound of alarms echoed in the distance. The Royal Marines readied their weapons but maintained their composure. "Is something the matter?" Clara asked calmly while her heart skipped a beat. Sensors detected a large warp signature entering the system, Uriel replied, his gray eyes flickering with faint blue light. How large? She asked, trying to connect with the royal fleet, but no connection came through. She then tried to contact Cynthia, but failed as well. Whatever it was, it had deployed communicator jammers already. Powerful ones. Damn it! Bastards are using jammers! Our long-range communicators are dead and our sensors are scrambled. Can't do squat against scanners, though. Closing his eyes for a moment to issue orders, Uriel scratched his chin repeatedly. 2 minutes later, he opened his eyes and he went pale. Clara took notice of his change and stood up. Uriel, what's the matter? Have your forces detected the traitor ships? They're not traitors, Princess, Uriel said with a hiss. They're not even human. Scanners detected a raiding party of 5 ships, 2 cruiser-class and 3 destroyer-class ships, he explained, clenching his teeth and narrowing his eyes. This is a fucking Drazen raiding party. Drazen? Exclaimed the princess, flabbergasted. Such a large raiding party, all the way here? Your guess is as good as mine. No Drazan ship has entered Jintrax in the last 100 years. What are those carrion feeders doing here? Uriel asked, enraged. Do you think the battle caught their attention? She asked softly, giving an air of calmness and composure. Internally, she was worried and confused. Maybe if we were close to their usual targets. But here, in Jintrax? Not a chance. I bet my station that the damned Castons bought them or tipped them off somehow. Must have been planning on this for a while now. A straggler ship or a desperate fool I could understand, but such a heavy raiding party? They ain't here because of coincidence, damn it! Would House Caston do something so reckless as to invite the Drazen to their doorstep? Clara questioned. Such an action goes beyond this conflict, and we can't assume they are involved in this just yet. We will need irrefutable proof. If we can survive the assault first, Uriel barked back. Scanners are showing they are heading here to Woodshaft. If we can't contact the prince, it'll take them more than 2 hours to reach us. By that time, the Drazan will be pummeling us in full force. Our ships can make harassing strikes and keep their boarding pods away for some time. But once they are in range, we'll be in trouble. My Royal Marines will be able to make short work of those monsters, Clara said with conviction. But internally she winced. The Royal Marines would outmatch any Drazen raider easily, but with numbers on their side, they could overpower a lonesome Royal Marine, and the station was vast. There would be no way for 10 Royal Marines, skilled as they are, to make a stand everywhere at once. Then, Princess, let's move you to a secure location and watch as Woodshaft defends itself. We ain't defenseless, and I'll be damned if I let plants that talk any easy meals, Uriel declared. Clara nodded and followed Uriel while her Royal Marines made sure to keep her safe. Brother, please, make haste. Cynthia Wyatt, stay safe, she thought, before putting on her helmet and clutching her figurine firmly.